Let us first try to understand what is linear regression. This is the most important algorithm because it is going to be the basic to understand the remaining machine learning algorithms. So first, what is simple linear regression or what is linear regression, right? You can always get this question in the interviews also. So let's take an example. Imagine you want to know how your study time affect your grades. How your study time affects your grades. So time, right? Study time would be in x-axis and we just evaluate grades or marks, whatever it is. Okay. So now this is what we want to find out. So for this, I can go ahead with the linear regression. So what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to build a mathematical relationship between time and marks. If someone study for 1 hour, what would be the mark? I hope it is clear, right? So in x-axis, what I have taken number of hours of study. In the vertical line, I have considered marks, right? So let us now proceed with that. So here, for example, if I write like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what does this represent? 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, something like that, right? For example, let me write some data over here like 20 or 40, 60. Roughly, I'm just writing some values over here. So what we generally try to do over here, I need to predict marks, right? I want to find out marks. So how this can be calculated? So what we generally do, we try to draw a straight line, which is building the relationship between marks as well as time. So which means something, if you remember in school days, we might have done this, right? Y is equal to mx plus c. So what is y, which is dependent variable? Here it is marks. So let me write it like a marks is equal to m. M is nothing but slope. Let me write it as m only. And then here x-axis, what do we have? Right? Time plus c. C is nothing but always people say that constant. It's not constant. C is actually intercept, right? Y-intercept. So now you can see a line here, right? So this red line is actually called as regression line. This regression line has the formula y is equal to mx plus c. So let us now try to understand what is meant by this m. Again, I hope like you could remember that we do it during school days, right? We just take a small portion of it. We can extend it to y-axis. Also, we can extend it to x-axis. Then we write like this, m is equal to del y divided by del x. I hope you remember that, right? So what is meant by this slope? How much y changes when there is a unit change in x? So according to this example, how much your grade is expected to increase for each extra hour of studying? So what is meant by this C? So you can see here where it cuts at y-axis. In this particular example, you can see like a 20. Right? So sometimes we also know that, right? Even without studying, we would be getting some marks, right? So that's basically called as intercept. I hope it is clear, right? So what is meant by linear regression? Building relationship between dependent variable and independent variable. It is a mathematical relationship between dependent variable and independent variable. If there is only one independent variable, then it is called a simple linear regression. In case if there are many independent variables, for example, like area of house, age of house, right? Age of house, and then location of the house, all that. Based upon that, if I am finding out price, now price would be the dependent variable. And these three would be the independent variables, x1, x2, and x3. So if I try to build this relationship, this will turn into y is equal to m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 x3 plus c. Exactly. So what would be y here? Price is equal to m1. m1 is again this one, right? How much does y-axis change when there is a unit change in x-axis, right? So m1 into area of the house plus m2 into age of the house plus m3 into location. And then that would be the intercept. Very simple. So what is simple linear regression? It is about building a mathematical relationship between dependent variable and independent variable. And there can be any number of independent variables. If there is more than one independent variable, then it is called as multiple linear regression. I hope it is very simple. The most important interview questions are, what is simple linear regression? Explain in layman term. What is multiple linear regression? What is meant by slope? What is meant by intercept? Again, remember, nobody wants you to give the definition. They want an example only. So you can start like me. Let me finish with the same example again. Based upon the number of hours of study, we try to predict the marks of the student. So marks is the dependent variable and number of hours of study is the independent variable. Why it is regression? Because dependent variable is numerical. Because I'm trying to predict the marks, right? So try to write the answer in case if I try to find out the result in the sense pass or fail. If I want to predict the result of a student based upon the number of hours of study, then what type of algorithm we are supposed to implement? Write your answer. Based upon the number of hours of study, if we try to find the predict whether the student will pass or fail, whether it fall under regression or not, what is the name of that? Right? So please write your answer in the comment. Thank you.